WMOA Radio is proud to salute the 2020 Marietta College Athletic Hall of Fame inductees. Every day this week, we will spotlight one of this year's 5 inductees, and today, Johnny Wharff introduces us to Doug Huffman, class of '92.
Johnny Wharff in another Marietta College Hall of Fame spotlight. We have with us Doug Huffman, class of 1992, Marietta College, and a baseball player. And Doug, I'm going to jump right into this because you're one of the few guys I remember all the way back at the Bantam League level, and as a broadcaster, you see these little guys out there playing, and they're so good, and then, man, I wonder if they're going to keep playing and excel. And you're one of the guys I remember even at the youngest of levels. So talk about kind of playing the games. I know you played, football, basketball, baseball, but talk about the younger years and what you learned at that level.
We were Warren High School boys, me and my brothers, but Mom and Dad always took us down to the Bantam Leagues in Marietta, which I always look back at that and I think, man, I played with a lot of good kids down there myself, Mark Bradley being one of them, or Andy Amrine, and, the list goes on. There's several of them that went on and played college baseball, and it was handy for Mom and Dad because they could drive all three of us to the ball field. There might be all three of us playing in one night. So it was a good playing field to, hone your skills, I guess. A lot of good kids in the area.
So if I do the math right, then would you have gone on and played with Mark Bradley for a little bit at OU as well?
Yes. Me and Mark, we came up through post-64 baseball. We went to a state runner-up. Played Cincinnati Buddy, which was Pete Rose's juniors team. They beat us. Still think we were better than them. Another one of your hosts, Ty Moore, got injured, or I think we would have probably been in the driver's seat to win that thing. Freak accident, he got hurt in the game against them.
Yeah, laying down a bunt at Cambridge, as I recall, and then I even remember the matchup there in Athens, Jason Shira and Bradley in that final game. Man, those were some great games to call, and certainly good memories for me as well. And then what about the recruiting part of it? So at what point, how were you recruited? I'm kind of interested at, how you landed initially at Ohio University.
Well, kind of a long story short, really where I was probably going to go was Marietta College with Mike Holloway, the old football coach. They were kind of talking about 3 sports at Marietta, and then all of a sudden Holloway, he takes off and goes to Ohio Wesleyan.
Yeah.
At that point, I was kind of leaning away from the football and thinking about baseball, and ended up, we went to the district all-star game in baseball, and Jerry France talked to me. Mark Bradley had already signed at OU, and kind of got a little bit of a toe in the door, I would say, with Coach France. He said, why don't you come over and try out for baseball? And that's what I did. Went over there. Mark played right off the bat, and I redshirted that first year, which wasn't a bad thing. Looking back on it, I feel like I could have played that first year, but it ended up and gave me that extra year when I did finally transfer back to Marietta. So stayed OU. Second year, Joe Carbone came in. Joe was a teammate of Mike Schmidt at OU, and he brought in several recruits of his own. So I just was kind of in the back seat with the coaching staff. And moving along, then bump into Jeff Shalley at my younger brother Kirk's post-64 game. And Jeff asked me how OU was, and I said, well, I'd like to get to play a little bit more. And he said, well, why don't you transfer to Marietta? And I said, you can do that? And he chuckled, and he said, sure. And he said, you could play right off the bat. So that was kind of my road.
Doug Huffman, our guest, class of 1992, Marietta College, and 2020 Hall of Fame inductee to the Marietta College Hall of Fame. And you brought up Holloway there on the football side and Ohio Wesleyan, which brings me back to 92, and Ohio Wesleyan pops up in my mind again. I was more of a spectator, listener in your college career because my dad was doing the games, but I do remember, I think it was Ohio Wesleyan in Battle Creek, right, in a regional?
That was actually 92 regional at Pioneer Park. We had strong pitching coming back for the game. It was Mike Sherman, a 92 guy. Before we know it, things happen and we're down 8-1 or 8-0 in the third inning. We eventually, Coach Shalley took me out of right field. I went in and pitched like 5 1/3, I think it was. We kind of held them at bay and ended up won the regional at Pioneer Park 11-10.
Oh, and then went to Battle Creek from there, right?
Yes. Battle Creek, we lost the opening game to William Patterson, the eventual national championship. I thought we, held our own with the eventual national champion that year.
Doug Huffman is our guest, a 2020 inductee into the Marietta College Hall of Fame, and the ceremonies coming up here on February the 8th. And for our listeners, Doug, 3 varsity letters in baseball at Marietta College, 2-time All-American, second-team honors at junior, and then first-team accolades your senior year, and I think MVP of that 92 regional, if I'm not mistaken, right?
That is correct.
And then Way Weiglet Award winner is a very prestigious award. Maybe for our listeners, you can talk a little bit about that one.
Every time I'm in Van Johnson, I go down by there and I look at my name up there, and I see a lot of big Marietta College names on that board, and it's quite an honor to see your name put up there with that award.
Doug Huffman is our guest in our spotlight on our Marietta College Hall of Fame outlook. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more with Doug about his time at Marietta College, and we'll do that after this timeout.
Marietta College is proud to induct the 37th class into its Athletic Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame induction ceremonies will be Saturday, February 8th, as part of the annual Winter Weekend festivities. The class of 2020 inductees include All-American baseball player Doug Huffman from the class of 92, All-OAC football player Alan Verasso, class of 96, All-Region softball player Jen Tinkler, class of 1997, two-sport All-OAC tennis and basketball player Amanda Carher, class of 2009, and All-American baseball player Mike Eisenberg, class of 2009. For more information on the ceremony, contact Wendy Tiemann at the Athletic Department. WMOA congratulates this year's inductees.
Johnny Wharff and 2020 inductee Doug Huffman, class of 1992 at Marietta College, and you had mentioned being a Warren guy, but you're Waterford now, right?
Actually, I've been a baseball coach up here at Waterford for 5 years as JV, and this will be my 5th year as the head coach. We've kind of moved out of the Warren system, grew up in that. My mother grew up on a farm out there. We were actually bought property right there by where my mother grew up. I think in which Waterford right now, we're having a lot of good success with the young athletes here.
We often hear about the long blue line, and for the folks that don't know, and that is just the people that go through Marietta College and continue to give forward, if you will. And you certainly added to it, right? I know. I think your wife graduated from there. Maybe a daughter as well. Yes.
My wife, Laureen, she was an Alpha Z. We kind of grew up going to church. She was a Fort Fry grad, and I was Warren, but we went to the same Catholic church out at Churchtown. It hooked up there at Marietta, and then our oldest of 3 daughters, Dallas, graduated there a couple years ago in biochemistry. And the third daughter's getting ready to be enrolled next fall at Marietta.
Oh, that's fantastic. Keeping the long blue line alive. I love it. We take a look at your career at Marietta College, and there's expectations, Doug, as you know, but they don't always come to fruition. But you guys had 3 OAC tournament championships, 3 NCAA Mid-East regional appearances, and 2 trips to the World Series. Now, and there's only a handful of people that can say they got to do all that. Is there anything that jumps out in your mind from all those different ventures into postseason play that stand out?
I believe the 89 team did not make it to the series, and then 90 had a real nice team with only 3 seniors that year. Probably the best team I played on 90, 91, 92 was the 90 team, but it just didn't click. And then you make 2 series in 91, 92 when maybe people weren't thinking we were.
Right.
We kind of clicked at the right time in the regional, and then and then it kind of just it kind of died off. It's something you look back on and you think, man, I wish we could have kept that momentum. But looking back, Coach Shalley, I mean, you were never unprepared. I mean, dig in at certain times. Yeah, everything ain't going to go perfectly, and he was just a great mentor for that.
Well, a big congratulations to you, Doug. We look at this, I think, 25 or 20, maybe more than that, years on, you get another accolade from Marietta College. It's got to feel pretty good. Talk a little bit about, who called you about being in the Hall of Fame, and then who is going to be your presenter at the ceremony.
It was kind of shocking. It's been in the back of my mind that someday I could be there. Almost 30 years out now, so. Coach Brewer, Brian came to Marietta in '90, the same year I did, me as a transfer and him as a freshman out of Maryland. So Brian ended up and gave me the call, which my first thought was, are you kidding me? And he said, yeah, I'm kidding you. So then I thought he was kidding me. But we got through that. He got a little bit sincere with me and said, no, Doug, I'm not kidding you. They're putting you in the Hall of Fame, and a little bit of it I still can't believe, but it was good hearing from Brian. My presenter will be my older brother, Greg, and I just look back at a lot of the basketball court behind the house, beating each other up and. The elbows and the fouls and the blood and trying to push myself to be better than him, and
Great stuff, Doug. We certainly appreciate your time and our spotlight interview. The 2020 inductee into the Marietta College Hall of Fame, Doug Huffman, class of 1992. On a personal note, I just like to say it's been a pleasure watching you play, number one. Number two, that post-64 run as a broadcaster, one of my fondest memories to be a part of. So I appreciate that as well. And from a community standpoint, we're glad that you and your family are in the Mid-Ohio Valley. You're coaching Waterford baseball and keeping the long blue line alive and well. So congratulations again to you, Doug Huffman, 2020 inductee into the Marietta College Hall of Fame.
Be sure to join us at this time every morning this week as we introduce you to another 2020 inductee into the Marietta College Athletic Hall of Fame. And for more information on Marietta College's winter weekend festivities, visit pioneers.marietta.edu.